Hello, and welcome back to another episode of TEW 2020 WWE. We are continuing King and Queen of the Rings in the build-up to the finals happening at Crown Jewel at the end of the month, as well as continuing the build-up for other matches at the pay-per-views Raw and NXT with Crown Jewel and Smackdown with the Smackdown Super Showdown pay-per-view. We start off with Raw as usual, the A show rating-wise, and out comes Edge with an example of that A show rating-wise mentality with a 91 for his entrance here. And then for an 83, he gets on the mic and he's pissed off, he's angry. Last week, The Miz attacking him during his main event with John Cena, ending the match via disqualification. Edge getting the win, but not how he would have wanted. Edge says that The Miz wanted his attention and now he's got it, so come out here and face him like a man. Go to your wife, go to Maurice, get those balls of yours out of her purse and come out here and face me like you say you want to. Eventually, Miz's music hits and he comes out onto the stage, flocked by security guards, not taking the risk with taking on Edge, it would seem. He gets on the mic and he says, "Edge, I think you need to calm down, okay? You were being ignorant. You were being dismissive of me. And so I had to make it very clear to you that is a bad thing to do. That's a dangerous game to play. And the only way to do that, Edge, was to hit you where it hurt and to get you when you were not expecting it. That money in the bank mentality, I guess, that you're worrying about with Adam Cole. I have that. I've still got it all these years later. So you see, Edge, you want to face me? Okay. Not now. I'm not ready, I'm not dressed. I'm not properly prepared. But I'll face you at Crown Jewel for the WWE Championship." And Edge kind of laughing to himself, and he says, "If that's what it takes for me to get my hands on you and kick your ass, so be it." Making it official, Crown Jewel, WWE title on the line, Edge versus The Miz for an 85 here. Good segment, a very good start to the show from these two. Before we head into the first Queen of the Ring semi-final matchup in the Raw bracket happening tonight, Deonna Purrazzo, flanked by Chelsea Green and Karma, of course, taking on Io Shirai. And Io Shirai gets the win after the distraction from Ember Moon. Ember Moon running in through the crowd, climbing up onto the barricade, the crowd going crazy. Chelsea Green ringside like, what? Turns around, sees Ember Moon, who catches her into the Eclipse. Karma then noticing Ember Moon ducking down, going under the ring. Karma reaching under it to get Ember Moon, but when she pulls the apron up, Ember Moon goes down with a fire extinguisher right into the face of Karma before going out under the ring and smashing it into Karma's face, taking her down. Deonna distracted by Ember and allowing Io Shirai to take down Deonna Purrazzo, hit the moonsault and get the victory. Io Shirai into the finals of the Raw bracket of Queen of the Ring here for the 65. Then after the match, Ember Moon into the ring. Deonna coming to as Ember hits an Eclipse on her before collecting her money in the bank briefcase Deonna Purrazzo stole last week and raising it in the air above Purrazzo. Ember Moon obviously sick of Deonna and her little gang here. The 59 for this post-match segment as we head into the first of two semi-finals in Raw's bracket of King of the Ring here tonight. Jeff Hardy taking on the United States Champion Kyle O'Reilly. And Kyle O'Reilly comes out on top, gets the win here with the submission, the Armageddon, for a incredible match here, an 84. The best, I feel like I keep saying this Raw every week, but the best weekly television match of the save so far. One of the best matches, full stop, maybe the second or third best, I think. Really, really amazing work from these two. Jeff with the 81, 73 from Kyle. I might have to do something with these two together in the future because this has worked out a lot better than I could have anticipated. As it's Kyle O'Reilly comes out on top after the match. The show of respect from the two. Kyle O'Reilly, the United States title over his shoulder, reaches down, helps Jeff Hardy up. The crowd applauding as Kyle O'Reilly and Jeff Hardy shake hands. A good show of sportsmanship between the two before Kyle O'Reilly for the 85. Before Kyle O'Reilly leaves the ring, and he heads up the ramp. Jeff Hardy in the ring, playing to the fans, thanking them, pointing to them, when out of nowhere, Timothy Thatcher, the hardcore champion, runs in and takes out Jeff Hardy, takes him onto the floor and locks in the Fujiwara armbar onto him. Jeff Hardy screaming out in agony. Referees, road agents charging out to the ring to try and break it up, eventually managing to do so. But Jeff Hardy thriving in pain on the floor as Timothy Thatcher stands over him for the 75 here. Then we head into some tag team action here. Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch taking on Imperium, Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel. And Imperium do pick up the win here with the European Bomb. Eichner pinning Oney Lorcan for the 56. The 55 from Eichner, 54 from Bartel, 38 from Burch, 31 from Lorcan. Good little matchup here. Imperium finding their feet, building a little momentum in their quest to, as they said last week, capture those Raw Tag Team Championships. Then go backstage to Charlie Caruso interviewing Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens talking about last week, you know, when he attacked Adam Cole backstage, 2 weeks ago attacking Roderick Strong as well. And he says that the Undisputed Era, all they ever seem to do is get in people's way, is disrupt things, is use a little gang mentality of theirs to make themselves feel better about themselves, to make themselves feel bigger than what they are. Because Adam Cole knows that without Roderick Strong, he wouldn't have walked out as Mr. Money in the Bank, because I had that match won. But Roddy, you know, Adam Cole's little lapdog had to get involved, didn't he? Very unsurprising, because, you know, the Undisputed Era act like they run wherever they are, you know. They act like they run NXT, like they ran SmackDown, like they're going to run Raw, but they're not. Because all they are is talk. And they can talk well, but when it comes to backing it up, they have to cheat. They have to find a way not within the rule set to achieve anything in this business for an 83. And then we go to cut to a different camera. It's the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Bobby Fish, not Kyle. Kyle had his match earlier, probably being seen to by the medics. A brutal match with Jeff Hardy. As they're looking backstage with the camera, they find the area where the interviews usually take place, but there's nothing but a TV there with Kevin Owens on it. Kevin Owens still talking, and then it gets to a point where Kevin Owens is like, "You think I can stop now? You think they found it yet? Yeah, okay." And they just looks straight into the camera, and he says, "Hey guys, hey Adam, Roddy, yeah, you think I'm an idiot? You think I was just gonna wait here backstage for you to come get me? No. But I'm glad you're here, because I got some news. I've spoken to Drake, and Roderick is going to be you and me next week on Raw." Crowd cheering, Roddy not looking happy. And then Kevin Owens said, "Oh, and Adam, I'm sure you're there as well. I mean, wherever your little lapdog is, you usually are as well. So that's why I'd let you know that as long as I beat Roderick Strong, then at Crown Jewel, it's going to be you versus me, 1-on-1, so I can finally get my hands on you for a 91. This is a really good show. A lot of really good angles and segments, and match-wise, it's pretty good as well. Kevin Owens setting up some big matches for himself in the future. Strong next week. Cole possibly at Crown Jewel. We'll have to see how that goes. Both matches, if they both end up happening, should be really, really good, I think. As we head into the second Queen of the Ring semi-final in the Raw bracket tonight. Kairi Sane versus Sasha Banks. It's back and forth. But in the end, it's Kairi Sane who comes out on top with the insane elbow for the 69. 62 for Sane. 65 for Banks. And Kairi Sane come out on top after the match. Sasha Banks, head in hand. She can't believe it. She looks annoyed and angry. Kairi Sane smiling ear to ear, arm raised, goes up the ramp, looking at the throne, when out comes Io Shirai, and the two, you know, great friends, former tag team champions, they embrace, but then they both look at the throne, because next week they will be competing in the Raw bracket final for Queen of the Ring, the winner, going on to that triple threat match at Crown Jewel, and, you know, they shake hands, they show some respect, but next week, that friendship's going to be going out the window, with a chance to become Queen of the Ring up for grabs for a 74 here, really good. Before we head into the second semi-final in Raw's King of the Ring bracket between Angelo, Dawkins and Daniel Bryan. And it's Daniel Bryan who comes out on top with the 80 in the main event here. A lot of really good matches tonight. All 4 of the semi-finals. I'm really happy with Jeff and Kyle. Maybe should have put in the main event, but I'm not going to be too angry with the 80 here from these two. Daniel Bryan coming out on top with the label lock. 82 for Bryan, 60 for Dawkins, the 80 for the segment overall, as Daniel Bryan comes out on top. And next week in Raw's King of the Ring bracket final will be Daniel Bryan versus the United States champion Kyle O'Reilly, and what a match that will hopefully turn out being. And then afterwards, out comes Bayley for the 69, followed by Asuka for the 76, and then we have the contract signing for the WWE Women's World Championship match at Crown Jewel. Asuka versus Bayley. Bayley talking about how in NXT, Asuka took the NXT Women's title away from her, and how she came to up to the main roster, as they say it, and she struggled, finding herself, finding her footing, She won the Raw Women's title, but then she had this lackluster reign. She lost it. She won the Smackdown Women's title. She had this great reign. People loved this darker side of her, but that wasn't her. And she's just been trying to find herself and her place, but she says that now is the time to take back her spot at the top. She feels ready. She feels this understanding within herself, and she is finally ready for Asuka signing the contract. Asuka kind of looking at Bayley quizzically, smiling and saying that you are not ready for Asuka. Before Asuka signing the contract as well. Asuka, a woman of few words, but sounding confident in herself heading into that Women's World title match. Afterwards, the two kind of face off. Asuka raising the Women's World title above Bayley. Bayley looking up to it as we go off there for the 70. And the show overall getting a 84. What a show. I think last week's Raw was an 83, which was the best weekly. So once again, a new best weekly. And once again, it's Raw, the A show. For me, it's just so good at the moment. It's just everything's just working together so well. The angles, the matches. I'm really happy with Raw for the 48 increase in popularity as well, helping the company overall. As Raw's King and Queen, the finals are set. Daniel Bryan, Kyle O'Reilly, and Kairi Sane, Io Shirai. Next week we'll also have a contract signing for the WWE title match between Edge and The Miz. So lots to look forward to Raw-wise. But now let's find out what the King and Queen of the Ring finals will be for the NXT bracket, because next up is NXT. And NXT gets underway here with a semi-final from NXT's bracket of King of the Ring. Angel Garza taking on the Velveteen Dream here. And after a back and forth matchup, it's Angel Garza who comes out on top with the wing clipper, taking down the Velveteen Dream and ending his Velveteen dreams of becoming the King of the Ring here. As Angel Garza advances into the NXT bracket final of the King of the Ring tournament. 72 for the match. Yeah, quite happy with that. 71 from Garza, 65 from Dream. The two pretty evenly matched in-ring performance-wise, I would say. And again, a 72. I'm happy with that. Got the crowd hot, got the show off to a good start. And that's all I can hope for, really, as Angel Garza advances to NXT's King of the Ring final. We then go backstage to show a video of Tegan Nox, the NXT Women's Champion, making her way through the parking lot to the arena. But that curse of the NXT parking lot strikes again. As out of nowhere, Dakota Kai storms into Tegan Nox with a massive kick to the skull, taking Tegan Nox down. Dakota Kai attacking Tegan Nox in this, dazed, vulnerable position. Eventually, Dakota Kai being dragged off Tegan Nox being seen by the medics, but Dakota Kai showing that she is well and truly not done with the NXT Women's Champion Tegan Nox just yet for the 62 segment-wise here. As then we head into the first semi-final in NXT's Queen of the Ring tournament. We have Mickie James versus Natalya. Two very experienced competitors going head-to-head here for a spot in that NXT Queen of the Ring final. And it's Natalya who comes out on top with the sharpshooter for a 50. Pretty happy with that from these two. It's a decent little rating. 45 from both competitors, getting 50. That's fine. I can live with that. That's a decent little match, I would say. Then we go backstage to Sarah Schreiber interviewing Damian Priest. You know, talking about attacking Finn Balor, talking about distracting Finn Balor, costing him his King of the Ring matchup, talking about how he's tired of waiting around for these opportunities to just appear. Okay, he's going to find his opportunities. He's going to hunt them down, and he is going to shoot them down. As the Archer of Infamy he is. And he is going to create this collection of opportunities he found, he took, and he succeeded in. And when they're all brought together, they will make sure that the name Damian Priest well and truly lives forever. And just as he says that, he is attacked by Finn Balor. Finn Balor storming into Damian Priest, obviously not taking too kindly to Priest, attacking him, to Priest distracting him, costing him his King of the Ring matchup against Cameron Grimes, I do believe. And Finn Balor storming into Damian Priest, going for a 1916 onto the concrete floor backstage, but Priest managing to fight Finn Balor off and hit a big boot on him, taking Balor down, attacking him. Eventually the two competitors being separated, the road agents and the referees having a very busy night of it here in NXT, as the segment ends with the two shouting at each other, arguing, but being separated, and the fight between them being stopped for a 78 here. Doing very well, I would say, as we head into some Cruiserweight Tag Team action next. Lucha House Party taking on Brian Kendrick and Paul London. And the Lucha House Party come out on top. Dorado pinning London for a 43. Dorado with 49, 44 Kendrick, 33 Metalik, 37 London. Happy with that. It's a decent little matchup, you know. Keep things ticking along. House Party getting the win. Showing some respect with Kendrick and London after the match, and then Kendrick and London leave. Out comes the Swords of Essex, the Cruiserweight Tag Team Champions, and they confront the Lucha House Party. They raise their belts, issuing this challenge of some sorts, and Lucha House Party, they look up for it, they look ready, they want this fight, as this segment gets a 46 here. And then we have the other Queen of the Ring semi-final here in NXT, Candice LeRae taking on Raquel Gonzalez. And Raquel Gonzalez does pick up the win with that one-arm powerbomb. She does so well for a 56 here. 54 from LeRae, 55. 54 from LeRae, 55 from Gonzalez. And Gonzalez and LeRae tries her best, but in the end it's Gonzalez coming out on top, advancing to the Queen of the Ring final. So next week it will be Raquel Gonzalez versus Natalya, the winner advancing to that Queen of the Ring triple threat match at Crown Jewel. As afterwards, out comes Keith Lee for the 84, issuing once again to Keith Lee the North American Championship Open Challenge. And once again the MVPs come out, but this time it's not Cedric accepting, it's not Ricochet, it's Montel Vontavious Porter, MVP himself, who is accepting the challenge for the 48. So then into the match, Keith Lee versus MVP, and Keith Lee does come out on top with the Spirit Bomb to retain the North American title for a 68. 77 from Lee, 60 from MVP. Decent match, I would say, here. You know, a good little match between these two. Lee and MVP doing alright. And Lee comes out on top, thwarting the best efforts of the MVPs once again here. We then go backstage to Rey Mysterio being interviewed by Sarah Schreiber. Sarah asking Mysterio about, you know, attacking Santos Escobar last week, asking what he thinks of Escobar, formerly known as El Hijo del Fantasma's actions at Money in the Bank, you know, turning on Mysterio, aligning with Legado, costing Mysterio his opportunity to regain that Cruiserweight title. And Rey Mysterio says that son of a bitch, Fantasma, Escobar, whatever the hell he wants to be called, no respect, no sense of loyalty. You know, when we first fought at Backlash, at NXT TakeOver In Your House, I thought, this kid, he's got something. I thought maybe I could help him, you know, maybe I could be there for him and help him understand where his place is in all of this business, like so many others had done for me when I was new to. But what he did was cowardly, aligning with those two, taking off his mask, rejecting the legacy of that mask, of his family name like that. And for what? To align with Andrade, with Correa, with Vega, with those slimy bastards? Is that what he thinks it takes to do well around here. I've always followed my heart. I did what I thought was right for my entire career, and I had a pretty damn good career. But if he wants to do this, if he wants to turn his back on all of that, for them, we'll see how that goes for him, because I've talked to William Regal. And next week, I have a matchup one-on-one with Santos Escobar. So we'll see how all of this goes for him then, won't we? For an 83, Mysterio. A passionate promo about Santos Escobar turning on him, and Rey Mysterio does not sound happy. Announcing that matchup for next week, Mysterio Escobar. And I think that's going to be a very fiery matchup between the two competitors. As then, afterwards, we have the second King of the Ring semi-final of the night. The winner will take on Angel Garza next week in NXT's King of the Ring final. It's Aleister Black versus Cameron Grimes, 1-on-1. They're going back and forth. It looks like Aleister Black might have it here. He goes for Cameron Grimes, Grimes ducking, and Aleister Black taking out the referee instead. Grimes going for a cave-in onto Black, but Black rolling out the way, turning around, going for the Black Mass. But as he does, the lights go out. When they come back on, Cameron Grimes is cowering in the corner ahead of Aleister Black. And Aleister Black, he looks surprised. An emotion Aleister Black doesn't usually show off, but he looks very surprised. Cameron Grimes cowering in the corner like this. And then Aleister Black slowly turns around, and he goes face to face with the reason for Grimes' cowering, the Fiend Bray Wyatt. And Aleister Black, he tries to do something, but the Fiend quickly grabs him into that Sister Abigail and smashes him into the ground, taking Aleister Black out, before the Fiend kind of slides backwards, looking over at Cameron Grimes, and then looking at Aleister Black. Cameron Grimes very quickly hustling over, dragging the ref over, waking him up, and covering Aleister Black, whilst also trying to stay as far away from the Fiend as possible, because the Fiend is just staring at Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes not having a fun time, but the ref coming to enough to very slowly count a 1, 2, 3, as Cameron Grimes comes out on top after the assistance from the Fiend here. The Fiend targeting Aleister Black for whatever reason. Maybe Black is next preferred victim of sorts after dealing with Sheamus and McIntyre. I haven't seen him since No Mercy, I do believe it was, where he fought McIntyre. Cameron Grimes, getting the free count, and then very quickly sprinting out that ring, getting to the top of the ramp, kind of dusting himself off, and then celebrating like he's won the Super Bowl once again. And as he gets more help to victory, 80 for the segment, 81 for Black, 62 for Grimes. And yeah, I'm very happy with the 80. One of the best NXT matches for sure. As after the match, the Cameron Grimes celebrating on the ramp, and the Fiend slides over to Aleister Black again. But Aleister Black sitting up, kind of Undertaker-esque, but into the cross-legged sit, as he just sits and stares face to face with the Fiend. Their faces only not that far apart, only about a few inches apart. And the Fiend kind of turning his face side to side, examining Aleister Black. Aleister Black not flinching, not moving, just staring as the lights go out. And when they come back on, the Fiend and Aleister Black are both gone for the ring. 88 for this post-match segment. The Fiend is just gold dust, isn't he? I put him in a segment with pretty much anyone and it'll be amazing, but Aleister Black especially can hold his own segment-wise, so 88, very good from these two. And then afterwards, out comes Karrion Kross, the NXT champion, and Scarlett for the 80, making his way down to the ring. A table set up in the ring, William Regal in there as well, as Karrion Kross gets the mic, and he starts talking about John Cena again. He says, "Here we are. I have a contract here on this table for a match at Crown Jewel for the NXT Championship. Karrion Kross versus John Cena. 1-on-1. False God versus New God." And now we all know the John Cena of 2007, 2008, 2009. That John Cena, he would dust the Attack last week right off. He'd dust it all off. And he'd be here tonight to sign this contract, to set up that match. But this isn't that John Cena anymore. The John Cena that is left is nothing but a Best Buy version of The Rock. A Hollywood action star wannabe who thinks he can just show up here every now and then and people will be grateful for the scraps of attention he gives us. But that ends because it's time for him to be crushed in the grasp of Karrion Kross. It's time for him to finally fall and pray. For 78, Karrion Kross signing the contract and then just sitting back and waiting as the trumpets do go off. Out comes John Cena, his first ever appearance in NXT, I'm pretty sure, making his way down to the ring for the 87. And then John Cena stands, and then John Cena stands across from Karrion Kross and Scarlett. John Cena gets the mic. And he says that, before I returned last week, I hadn't been here since WrestleMania 36, since the Firefly Funhouse match with The Fiend. And why am I telling you this, Karrion? It's because I've been face to face with scarier men than you, and I've lived to tell the tale. You pretend you're this big, strong, tough, intimidating guy, but the truth of the matter is that you're not the tallest, are you? You're not the strongest. You're not the scariest. All you seem to be, Karrion, is an illusion. You're just a song, an entrance music, and a hot wife. And those things may be great to some people, but to you, for what you want to be, it makes you half the superstar The Undertaker was, with a quarter of the charisma and an eighth of the in-ring talent, and that's being generous of me. You want to step up to John Cena, you want to step up to one of the best of all time, then go ahead. Because a lot of people over the course of my career have been like you. They thought they could step up. The Nexus, Ryback, the Shield, way more people than I can name right now. And let me just assure you, if this is what you really, really want, Karrion, then the only legacy you'll leave behind, the only legacy you will have, the only thing people will remember the name Karrion Kross for in this company is being the man John Cena beat to become the NXT champion. Before John Cena reaches down and signs the contract, making it official, crown jewel, Karrion Kross, John Cena for the NXT title. And then John Cena picks up the mic once again and he says that, I gotta say as well, last week you were talking about fall and pray. How hustle, loyal, respect is dead, but hustle, loyal, respect's not dead. It's what I believe and it's what I stand for, but you want to show no respect to me, I ain't gonna show no respect to you. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to Crown Jewel, I'm gonna win that title away from you, and then maybe afterwards, I'll pay a visit to little lady Scarlett over there. And then you know what, I think I'll take a bit of your advice, I'll make her fall and pray. But, or let's just say when I make her fall to her knees, something a lot more unholy than praying is going to be happening. The crowd reacting as you'd expect. Karrion Kross, very angry at John Cena talking about his wife like that, stands up, goes for John Cena, but John Cena ducking, grabbing Kross into the air, and then hitting an AA through the contract signing table. John Cena standing tall over Karrion Kross, giving him the "you can't see me" on the floor, doing the pose he does as the show goes off air. The match set for Crown Jewel, John Cena standing tall over Karrion Kross for the 84 here, which helps NXT this week get an 81. I do believe the best NXT of the save so far, which I'm very happy with. Improving, great. I'd say the rating greatly improved by the fact that the final 6 segments featured The Fiend and John Cena in one way or the other. 2 great superstars rating wise. But I'm happy overall, even with the earlier stuff they weren't involved in. I wasn't too fussed with some of the low ratings. I thought it was a good show. And I'm happy with that. Increased our popularity in 6 regions. Hopefully we can continue this good run this week with another good overall rating for the final show of the week, Smackdown. And Smackdown gets underway with the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, making his way down to the ring for a 77. Last week, Mark Henry announcing his retirement. Bullard and Heyman coming to gloat, but then Henry, surprising Bullard, catching him off guard, world's strongest slam, raised that Intercontinental title. Henry, here now with a 71, talking about how He has been waiting. He's been biding his time ever since Thaddeus Bullard turned on him last November at Survivor Series. Henry has been waiting for this opportunity to get in this ring and kick his ass. He says last week was just a small, minute bit of the anger he has towards Bullard getting out of him. He gave everything for Bullard. He trained him. He taught him everything he knew. And Bullard just threw it all aside. And for what? For Heyman? It's not how we do this. That's why I want you, Bullard. I want you. I want to take that Intercontinental title away. The title that you threw everything we built away for. I want to take it from you. So what do you say? Huh? You gonna come out here and face me like a man? You gonna put that Intercontinental on the line? But no one comes out. Bullard, Heyman, nothing to be seen. Henry looking disappointed and saying, you know what, I thought this would happen. I never thought you'd have the balls to just come and face me like this if you had nothing to gain from it. So, allow me to put a proposition forward for you, Bullard. You and me, crown jewel, for the Intercontinental Championship. Your Intercontinental title versus my career. You beat me. I'll hang up the singlet. So what do you say, Bullard? Do you like the sound of that, huh? Another notch on your belt, huh? First Undertaker, Kane, and now me. Is that what you want? Well, come on. Come out here and accept my challenge. Face me like a man for 71. And then Bullard and Heyman do not come out, but they appear on the Titantron, and they're laughing. And Heyman begins to say something, and then Bullard just kind of reaches over and it stops Heyman looking at Bullard, and then looking forward, and the camera zooming in on Bullard, and Bullard just says, I accept. For an 82. Setting up Crown Jewel, Intercontinental, Bullard, Henry, Championship versus career. Hopefully that'll be good. Henry going for the gold. Bullard looking to take Mark Henry out once and for all. Next up we have a match from the Smackdown bracket of Queen of the Ring, a semi-final. Nikki Cross taking on Toni Storm, and Toni Storm comes out on top. Alexa Bliss at ringside for Nikki Cross, attacked by Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott, the Riott Squad, distracting Nikki Cross enough for Toni Storm to turn her around into the Storm Zero and pick up the victory for a 56 here. 63 from Cross, 51 from Storm. Toni Storm sadly off her game a bit here, but it comes out on top nonetheless. And then after the match, Bliss and Cross beaten down by Morgan and Riott, the Riott Squad, the women's tag team champions. Morgan lost out in the first round to Nikki Cross, and obviously the Riott Squad did not like that little humiliation by Nikki Cross. And it ends here with the Riott Squad standing tall over Bliss and Cross for the 64 here. Then we have a King of the Ring semi-final here. Johnny Gargano taking on King Corbin, and it gets a 75. Gargano doing well. The referee accidentally getting knocked down, and then a hooded man runs through the crowd into the ring and smashes Johnny Gargano in the back of the head with a cane, and Gargano dazed, and it provides enough distraction for Corbin to get up and hit Gargano with the end of days to pick up the victory here. 1, 2, 3. King Corbin advancing to the SmackDown King of the Ring final here. 75 for the match, 76 for Gargano, 67 from Corbin. Got the crowd hotter. And then after the match, the hooded figure gets in the ring with Corbin. Corbin applauding them, putting his crown back on. And the figure pulls the hood down, revealing Ace Austin. Ace Austin debuting here. We signed him from Impact. Debuting on SmackDown, attacking Gargano, costing him the match, helping King Corbin. And then after the match, Ace Austin and King Corbin in the ring together. King Corbin raising Austin's arm for a 73 here. What are Austin and Corbin doing together? We'll find out. And then afterwards, we have another Queen of the Ring semi-final here. Charlotte taking on Sonya Deville, and Charlotte Flair comes out on top with the figure 8 leg lock to get the win, setting up the SmackDown brackets Queen of the Ring final. Charlotte versus Toni Storm. next week. Hopefully that'll be good for a 68 here. 74 from Charlotte, 46 from Sonya. The two had great chemistry, and it showed in their performance. That is good to know. Charlotte gets into the final. And then, like advertised last week, Austin Theory making his debut for a 58 here. He makes his entrance. He's in the ring. He's ready. He's pumped. And then out comes his opponent, Braun Strowman, for a 78 here. Austin Theory. And Strowman kind of squaring up. Austin Theory approaching Strowman, looking straight ahead, and then slowly craning his head back, looking up at Strowman. The match gets underway. Strowman, Theory going for it, but Strowman kind of tossing him around a bit. Theory builds some momentum a little bit. He goes to lift up Braun Strowman, but Braun Strowman kind of laughs it off before picking up Austin Theory into the running power slam and getting the victory here. Braun Strowman coming out on top. Austin Theory's debut on SmackDown here is not a winning one, but it's just a start for Austin Theory around here, you know. He went toe-to-toe with Braun Strowman here. He did well for 54 for him personally, 78 for Strowman, and Strowman getting the segment to a 77. Strowman doing very well here. And then after the match, out comes the Universal Champion Big E, squaring up with Braun Strowman. Says this is what he wanted. He wanted a fight, and he wants this fight with Braun Strowman before Big E shoves Strowman. Strowman going into Big E, the two eventually being separated, but Big E, whilst I'm sure not appreciating Strowman taking him out a couple of weeks ago, got that fight he wanted, and he looks like he wants to go one-on-one with Strowman in the ring for a 78, the post-match. And then we have next up a Women's Universal Championship match. Rhea Ripley taking on Nia Jax. And Rhea Ripley comes out on top, retaining her Women's Universal Championship with the Riptide for the 59. 64 from Ripley, 55 from Jax. The two had pretty good chemistry. It lifted the match, which is good. Rhea Ripley coming out on top. And then after the match, just like at Money in the Bank, Nia Jax attacking Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley trying to fire off, but Nia Jax overpowering her for a 71. And then also like Money in the Bank, Naomi runs down to the ring. And Nia Jax kind of backing off as Naomi gets in the ring. Rhea Ripley getting to her feet slowly as before Naomi kicks her straight in the head, taking her down. Nia Jax dropping Rhea Ripley with the leg drop. Naomi going out the ring, grabbing that Women's Universal title as Jax holds Ripley up, and then Naomi smashing it into Ripley's face before Naomi and Nia Jax stand tall over Rhea Ripley here. Naomi raising the Women's Universal title above her head. Naomi turning heel here. Maybe, you know, one too many disappointments, losing the $1 million title, losing out in Money in the Bank, qualifying, losing out in Queen of the Ring, and it looks like maybe she has snapped and aligned herself with Nia Jax here for the 64. As we head into the main event in a King of the Ring semi-final, SmackDown Tag Team Champ versus SmackDown Tag Team Champ Montez Ford, Roman Reigns. And it could go either way. Reigns gets Ford down in the end, sets up for the spear, but Ford kind of jumps up, catches Roman Reigns' head between his legs, falling backwards. Reigns' momentum taking him backwards with Ford as Ford's legs gripping around Reigns, slam him headfirst into the mat. Reigns onto his knees as Montez Ford hits a big drop kick, taking down Reigns before he climbs to the top rope, hitting a frog splash and picking up the win here. Montez Ford defeating Roman Reigns. Montez Ford advancing to the King of the Ring final. It's going to be Montez Ford versus King Corbin in the King of the Ring final for the SmackDown bracket. 82 for the segment here. These two having a really, really good match. 73 from Ford, the 90 from Reigns. Reigns doing amazing here. And the two had great chemistry. It showed in their performance, getting that 82. I'm really happy with that as Ford gets a big, big win over Roman Reigns here. Then after the match, Ford celebrating as Roman slowly comes to. Roman getting onto his feet and kind of just staring at Montez Ford. Montez Ford noticing Reigns, and the two kind of going face to face a bit for an 83 when out of nowhere from behind runs in the Dirty Dogs. The Dirty Dogs Ziggler, Storm and Rude attacking Ford and Reigns, taking him down. Storm and Rude hitting Ziggler, hitting a zigzag onto Ford. Storm and Rude hitting the beer money onto Roman Reigns, taking him down for the 78 here. And then the Dirty Dogs collect the SmackDown Tag titles, and Storm and Rude hold them over their heads in victory. Perhaps a preview of what I think will happen next week when the SmackDown Tag titles are on the line. Ford and Reigns having to work together after their match tonight against the Dirty Dogs, Storm and Rude. We'll have to wait and see what happens there, but it ends the show to 78, which helps the show to a 81, ending a really good week here. The 84 from Raw, the 81 I think from NXT, and the 81 here as well. Increased our popularity in 18 regions, and I think this is the best overall week so far, rating wise, and I'm really, really happy with it, as the King and Queen of the Ring finals are set up for each of the brands. Daniel Bryan versus Kyle O'Reilly, and Io Shirai versus Kairi Sane on Raw. Cameron Grimes versus Angel Garza, and Raquel Gonzalez versus Natalya on NXT, and Charlotte Flair versus Toni Storm and King Corbin versus Montez Ford here on SmackDown. Those will be next week, so please tune in to see those, to see who's getting into the King and Queen of the Ring triple threat match finals at Crown Jewel, and a lot more next week as we have the go home shows for SmackDown Super Showdown and Crown Jewel. So if you've enjoyed this episode and you're looking forward to seeing what happens next, please like and subscribe for more, and thank you for watching.